Okay, the other Maimah we finished. We're going to start a Maimah at the end of the Parsha in Likkutei, 102. 102, middle of the first column. Okay, he says, Vayishlach Yehoshua min hashitim shnayim anoshim meraglim chodesh leimer. Okay, at the end in the Haftarah of the Parsha, it says that Yehoshua sent 2 spies from Shittim secretly, and he said, go check out the land, Ves Yericha, in the city of Yericha. So he says, in Bavad Yehoshua Meidaite. There's no question that Yehoshua didn't do this on his own. Rak Hashem Yisbarach Tzivo al Kach, that Hashem commanded him. Obviously, we can't say that Yehoshua did this on his own. Yehoshua did it because Hashem told him to do it. So he says, so the question, why is this different than the Meraglim Moshe Rabbeinu sent? That over there it says, Shlach L'cha. Chazal say, L'daitcha ani eina metzavelach. I'm not commanding you. Why is it by Yehoshua, obviously Hashem commanded Yehoshua to send the Meraglim to Yericho, and yet by Moshe Rabbeinu Hashem is telling him, I'm not telling you to send them, do it on your own. So he says, L'homin inyan zeh, Shebachol Eretz Yisrael Leitziva al Hashem Yisbarach L'shlech Meraglim Rak B'Yericho. So this, it comes out like this. Yehoshua sent spies basically primarily to the city of Yericho. And meaning the whole Eretz Yisrael cannot get spies, but Yericho could get spies. Why? It was like the key. By opening up Yericho, they opened up the whole land. Yericho Segeris, and in the city of Yericho, the people live there from all the different nations. Like it says, Chiti Ameri Kobali Yericho. Okay? That means all the nations were part of the city of Yericho. Meaning Yericho was the general aspect of all of Eretz Yisrael. All the 7 nations of Israel lived in Yericho. So basically, Yericho is like the key to the whole Eretz Yisrael. How is this found? Now, obviously, it's an Avodas Hashem, which means we're saying in Avodas Hashem, there's a Yericho within us, and we have to send spies to check out Yericho. That's basically what it's saying. That the city of Yericho, each one of us needs spies. But the rest of Eretz Yisrael doesn't need spies. What does this mean in Avodas Hashem? In Eksiv, it says in the Pasuk, Avram Avinu was old, coming in days. So the Zohar asks, it's redundant. If you're old, you're coming in days. If you're not old, you're not coming in days. Pirish B'Zohar says, what does it mean? Sheneslabish b'yamim. Avram Avinu, not only was he old, but he mean he dealt with all the spheres, meaning that Yamim and Levushim, Hanit and Neshama. These refers to the days given to the person. Like we learned many times, when a person is born, Hashem gives every person, each one of us, amount of time we're going to live and a mission to accomplish. Based on the mission we have to accomplish, that's how long we live. Okay? So therefore, what do you mean Baba Yomim? Baba Yomim means the garments that a person has to accomplish in his lifetime. Based on that, that's how much you live. Kamesha Kazi Yomim Yitzaru. Ahainu, Aidei Teira Mitzvah Shadam Esig B'Yamav. That's based on the Torah mitzvahs that a person does all his life. And therefore any day that goes by without the mitzvah done, or without the learning Torah of that day, okay? So he says like this, every neshama is given garments, every neshama is given amount of time to accomplish in the garments. You blow it, you miss a day, so you're missing a garment, and you're missing Torah, and you blow it. So he says, to understand what all this means. Why does the neshama need garments? That it shouldn't be naked. Why is Torah telling us this? In other words, again, what's the lesson in it? So basically he says the neshama needs garments, which are Torah mitzvahs. Without that, the neshama is naked, which is no good. So he says, what's this whole thing mean in Avodas Hashem? So he says, the inyan is like this. Every day we say Nagdishach. Yeah? Some people even scream it loud. Nagdishach. Nagdishach means like this. Let us come and make him holy. That's the word Nagdishach. Nagdishach. Let us make Hashem holy. Which implies that Hashem is not holy on his own, and we are the ones that have to make him holy. So now the Rebbe says, why? He says, Hashem is self-holy. We make Hashem holy. It's like Hashem is missing something. He's not holy, and we make him holy by screaming Kaddish and Baruch and whatever that. Why do we say 3 times Kaddish? Twice, 4 times, 1 time. Kaddish, Dafka 3 times. It says like this. What does this mean? Torah was given to us in thought, meaning our mitzvah is connected to thought, speech, and action. Many mitzvahs are connected to speech. You have davening, benching. There's a lot of mitzvahs, Hallel. There's a lot of mitzvahs that are connected to speech. And many mitzvahs are in thought, like the mitzvah of love and fear. All those mitzvahs are in thought. Okay? So therefore, Torah was given to us with 3 aspects: thought, speech, and action. There are mitzvahs in thought, speech, and action. A person can come along and make a mistake to think so many people can come along and make a mistake that this godliness that's revealed through action mitzvahs are not at all equal. A person come along and say, obviously you can't have the same elokus in action than you do in thought and speech. Thought and speech is much more refined. And like he says, it's very grub, it's very physical, very mundane. So a person could come along and say, how in the world, in fact, forget, in Chazal, the Gemara, action is what really counts. But a person can come along and say, what is the purpose of mitzvahs? In fact, that's what the Meraglim said. Why do we need physical mitzvahs? Let's stay in the midbar. So now the people can make a mistake to think that in speech, and thought and speech is a much greater revelation of godliness, what we do in thought and speech, than in action. It's not like that. What? Why? Because by Hashem, there's no difference between highest, lowest, thought, action, speech. There's no difference. Everything is considered nothing compared to Him. And therefore, there's no difference between the highest levels and the lowest levels. Okay? So therefore he says, a person can make a mistake to think that thought and speech is greater than action. He says, not true, because by Hashem, thought, speech, and action are all the same. The highest levels, the lowest levels, it's all the same. There's no difference. And that's what we say. We say Hashem is holy in the heaven and earth. What he says like this, the pasuk says, we say that in Yishtabach, right? Now, what does that mean? it means like this. It doesn't mean, simply it means you're holy in heaven and earth. The Alter Rebbe says, no. Ki HaKadosh, you are removed because from your level, heaven and earth are the same. Doesn't mean you're holy in heaven and earth. It means you are so removed, for HaKadosh, you are so removed from the world, Shamayim and it's heaven and earth are the same thing. Avshu Machayes Kulam. Okay? So therefore like this. The truth is, Elokus to our actions, thought, speech, and action, is revealed into the world. Okay? Now, he says, this revelation of Kedusha from Hashem, Nasa Yidei Yisrael, is through the Yidden. Who reveals the Kedusha of Hashem? Without us, it's not revealed. Because without us, it's too great to be revealed. Or like the Pasuk says, Umi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. The simple meaning of the Pasuk is, who are like you Jews? Who is like your nation Jews? Goy echad ba'aretz. A unique nation in the land. That's the simple meaning. Who are like you Jews? You're a unique nation in the world. But the Alter Rebbe says, no. What does it mean, Goy Echad Ba'aretz? It means like this. Mi Ka'amcha Yisrael, look how great the Jews are. What are they? Goy, they're a nation that Echad brings down the level of Havaya Echad Ba'aretz in the earth. In other words, what's the greatness? Not that they're a unique nation. The greatness of the Jew is they are a Goy, a nation that Echad bring down the level of Achdus Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, Einoid Mulvadai, Ba'aretz in the earth. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe asked the question 2 minutes ago. Why do we say 3 times Kodesh? Because he says, Laham Kedushasei Begimel B'chinas Machshava Dibur Amaisa. To bring down this Elokus, this level of Kedusha. So what does Nagdishach mean? It doesn't mean Hashem's not holy and we're making him holy. The Alter Rebbe says Nagdishach means we bring down the Kedusha of Hashem into the world in 3 levels. Thought, speech, and action. Kadesh, 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 which are the levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Which is thought, speech, and action, by the way. What?
I don't understand. So there's seemingly there's opposites. So Kadosh means separate. But here we're saying Kadosh means to come into the world.
Right. Though we're taking that level of separated godliness, which is normally removed from the world, and we're bringing it down into the world to make the world holy. How do you make something holy in this world holy? Why is this Sefer holy? Because there's godliness in it. So it's not that godliness is removed from it. This Sefer, because it has the Kedusha of Hashem in it, it's separated from the table and the chair and everything else that's not holy. But Nagdishah doesn't mean we make Hashem holy. Here the Alter Rebbe is defining Kedusha as bringing this level of godliness into the world through Machshava Dibur Amaisa, which is Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, the 3 levels of the Neshama. Shebakulam Nimshah B'chinas Kodesh, that in all the levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, or thought, speech, and action, we bring down the level of Kedusha. How? Aidei Eisek HaTeirah Mitzvahs, Gimel B'chinas, in the 3 levels, which are Levushim La Neshama, which become the garments of the Neshama. What's the purpose of the garment? Meaning like this. When the person has the clothing, when the neshama has what's the purpose of clothing? Purpose of clothing is to be able to be exposed to the world. You can't go out without clothing. So the neshama needs these 3 garments. He asks the question, why does the neshama need the 3 garments of Machshava Dibur Amaisa? Why can't the neshama be naked? He said, because in order to reveal this level of godliness in the world, you need garments to handle, to retain it. And the 3 garments of the neshama, for the neshama to reveal itself in the world through Torah mitzvahs, is thought, speech, and action. That's what makes the garments of the neshama. The neshama is the intellect and midas, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. But the garments is thought, speech, and action.
That's why Adam and Eve didn't have clothing because they couldn't go out.
Well, then, before the chet, before the sin, there was no evil yet, so that level didn't affect the person in any way. Now that there's evil in the world, thanks to them, so now a person needs garments.
There's no evil in it, no?
Huh?
It was just, it wasn't mixed, it wasn't there evil.
I understand, but there was good and bad, but good and bad were completely separated. So there was no Yetzer Hara in the person yet. Yet it never, Chet Tzadas accomplished that good and evil mixed. Therefore, before the Chet Tzadas, the snake, the Nachash, was the Yetzer Hara, but it wasn't in them. It was external. Once Adam and Chava sinned, so then the Yetzer Hara, the Nachash, the level of the Yetzer Hara, Nefesh Habamis, came into the person, came into them.
So we were created without that?
We were created originally, if it wouldn't have been for Chet Tzadas, we wouldn't have enough Shabbamas. But guess what? Guess what? At the beginning of Tom, there's a pasuk, Neir Alila B'nei Adam. Hashem made this libel against people, the Tzadas. In other words, Chassidus elaborates on it. There's a medrash, but Chassidus elaborates on it. Part of the master plan of the world was for Adam and Chava to sin, because then began the battle of good and bad. If there's good and bad within us, there's a battle now within us who controls, like we're learning in Tanya. Before the Chet Tzadas, there was no battle. That's what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. Because Mashiach era, especially Chis HaMesim, is going to go back to the pre-Chet Tzadas. The problem is that already happened, really. But again, this is all part of the plan. The plan. In Zohar it says, it's a medrash also, but the Zohar, the Chassidus elaborates on it, that by Matan Torah Paska Zu HaMasam. Zu Hama is like sweat, filth. And when the Eibishter gave the Torah, Matan Torah, there was the Chibur of Elyonim v'Tachtenim, it undid what the Chet Tzadas did. That means that Matan Torah, for 40 days, the Yidden were on the level of pre-Tzadas. What happened afterwards, though? This is all part of the plan. Hashem wanted the Jews should sit in the Tzadas. In the Egel. The Egel was the same sin of Tzadas that brought back evil into the world. Now, what's the story? So, like we learned many times. What? Huh?
I said sorry I asked that question. Go ahead.
Hashem created a perfect world. Olam HaMilui Nivra. Okay, the Medrash says the world was created perfect. You can imagine if God did it, He created a perfect world. What was wrong with that? Hashem says, okay, I created a perfect world. Big deal. Of course I could, I'm God. I want something, I'm bored of this, so to speak. But this is the original plan, by the way. It's not the bored, change. Hashem changed his mind and things like that. This was the original plan. So Hashem said, no good. Did I make a perfect world? Big deal. I want people should make a perfect world. I want, basically, Yidden to make a perfect world. Now, if you have a perfect building already, how do you make it perfect? In order to make it again perfect, you have to break it. And then you can rebuild it. But then the difference is, Hashem did it versus our doing it now. Now we do, Hashem says, I don't want to do it. Big deal. I want you guys to do it. So what happens? Hashem said, okay, we're going to imperfect the world. We're going to make something called Mr. Tzadas. Tzadas happened. Now Hashem said, okay, go fix it. Make it perfect. So you had a guy called Noach and Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak and Yaakov Avinu and the 7th generation till Moshe Rabbeinu. Then you have this guy Moshe Rabbeinu, a very great guy. He got the Torah in Har Sinai. Hashem said, okay, you guys, perfect world. You guys did it. But there's one problem with that. This is a perfect world from the tzaddik level. From the tzaddik level, the Jews didn't sin to do tshuva. Avram didn't sin, Yitzchak didn't sin, Yaakov did 7 they were tzaddikim. So Hashem said, okay, you guys made a perfect world, thank you very much. But you know what? There's a greater level than a tzaddik. It's called the Baal Tshuva. So yeah, and this is stages, by the way. This is planned stages from the Eibishter. So the planned stage of the Eibishter was, okay, Hashem says, good, you create a perfect world called Matan Torah, but that's the truth of it. The first look is for tzaddikim. What happened? Hashem said, I want tshuva level of perfection. Now, in order to get tshuva, you got to sin. So Hashem said, okay, we're going to bring another Eitz Hadas into the world. It's called the Egel. Because the Egel doesn't make sense. If you think about it, the Jews saw the miracles so they made a golden calf instead of Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, you got to be pretty stupid. But this is the plan. So now the Egel happened, and then Hashem said the whole tshuva bit, and then Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu on Yom Kippur, okay guys, now you're going to get the tshuva luchos. The tzaddik luchos were broken, because if you don't break them, you don't need the Baal Tshuva luchos. So we're going to get the tzaddik, the luchos broken, so now it's good, and now we're going to get the tshuva luchos, which is the level of Yom Kippur. Therefore, we don't celebrate Simchas Torah on Shavuos, which are the first luchos of tzaddikim. Hashem says, I want a greater Simchas Torah. Yom Kippur Simchas Torah, luchos shniyos. Chassidus is good. Rabbi Shab explains the mind, but yeah, nevertheless. So why isn't Simchas Torah the day after Yom Kippur? Because you need Aveda the 4 days, and you need Sukkos, and you need Shmini Atzeret. There's a whole Aveda that in order, but basically it's the level of tshuva. Okay, so then everything is fine and dandy. So then they come into Eretz Yisrael, they build a Mishkan. V'shchanti b'seichem. They build a Mishkan. Then they go into Eretz Yisrael, got some ice, Hashem said, okay, I want the first base of Mikdash. That's my home, permanent, not a Mishkan. And Hashem said, that's good. You know what? But it's still not good. So now we need to get a second base of Mikdash. So how do you get it? Hashem makes the Jews sin. It's all planned. Hashem makes the Jews sin, get rid of the first, but now we need a second building. The second base of Mikdash, even though it's missing many things, has a lot of things that the first base of Mikdash didn't have. Godli Yakreda Baiso Achim and Arishin. Second one was a bigger building, it lasted longer. First one stood 410, this stood 420. Then Hashem comes along and says, okay, you know what? Mashiach ain't coming this way. We need a very long Golus. We need real darkness. And in this real darkness, then the Jews are still going to do Torah mitzvahs. They're still going to do Torah mitzvahs. And that is the ultimate perfection of the world through us nobodies. Through us nobodies and the rest of the world of nobodies, that we're going to bring Mashiach dafke through the longest, darkest, worstest, which is no such word, I know, Golus, and then this is all planned 5,781 years ago. And therefore went in stages. The end result, Mashiach, Tchias HaMesim, ultimate Dira B'Tachtonim. That we made. One second, let me just say one more point. And not only that, why is this greater than Rabbi Kiva, Rambam, big deal. They're great. Us midgets? The midgets are going to accomplish something. Oh, that's something. Mela, the head accomplishes, the hearts accomplish. Okay. The ikvis, the heels, the lowest part of the body is going to make a dira b'tachtonim. Hashem says, oh, that's what I like. And that's what?
So the thought, the spirit in action, it cannot be the same level. The action is the Reika.
Correct. That's why you notice, in the earlier generations, there was a level of learning Torah, which is primarily understanding Torah. That's machshava. Then it came into the world of dibur, davening. The emphasis years ago was in davening, which is primarily dibur. And now, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, in the Gersa Kodesh, now the primary avodah is not learning like the Tanoim and Amiroim, doesn't exist, We don't have davening like the olden days. Now in action what counts. But action, because it's the lowest dafka, that's going to bring down the ultimate level of Mashiach.